Then you'll see all the text messages for the last 18 months in which he's scoring drugs, in which you'll hear testimony from people in which he's gotten drunk and you know, taken all kinds of different drugs. This is a month after they just got married. She flew in, just sitting there calmly, and she was haranguing him. So he took a shot glass of vodka. And when he did that, and you're going to hear from the experts testifying about this finger injury and how fantastic this version is. But the other part of it was, instead, what he does is he takes 8 to 10 tablets of ecstasy almost immediately. And the next 3 days are just called the lawyer from Australia, called her a bitch and fired her. You'll hear the testimony from the lawyer on that. That's the type of Johnny Depp that was there. 3 days of Australia. Some pretty horrendous things happened to her. He rips off her nightgown. He has her jammed up against a bar. He has hurled bottles and bottles at her. He has dragged her across the floor on the broken bottles and the liquor. He has punched her. He has kicked her. He tells her he's going to fucking kill her. He fucking hates her. That's the Johnny Depp that you're going to hear about in this case. What does she do? She buys a book by a psychiatrist who's talking about couples therapy. She's already trying to figure out a way to fix it again, fix this marriage that's only a month old and her husband has just done these horrible things to her. Now they go back to a monitor. She finds pictures of another woman, naked pictures of a woman, and text messages which show that he's clearly having an affair. Perfect. She was mad as can be when she saw that. And she confronted him. The two of them were screaming at each other. Now, her sister Whitney happened to be in the house. She was summoned. She literally was awakened to come and try to resolve this fight between the two of them. While she's there, Johnny starts hitting Amber in position. So Amber actually gets up and punches Johnny in the face. She'll tell you that's the only time she has ever laid one on him, you know, in an aggressive manner. But she'll tell you that she tried everything. She tried everything, you know, from trying to be nice, trying to get away from him. You know, she would throw things in his way to get him from running after her.
She would try to, you know, flail back. She would use her hands and legs, and she would go and try to fight him. She'd run into a room and try to barricade and push his hands and everything out of there. She'd try all those things, but she couldn't figure out what could get him to calm down.
December 2015, that was one of the worst. Australia was a particular occasion. He gets angry for some reason, and he starts dragging her by her hair through the apartment, kicking her, punching her, tearing her hair out. At one point she gets up and looks at him, and he headbutts her, and she gets 2 black eyes from it. Then he goes and drags her up the stairs, puts her on the bed, puts his foot and knee in the back of her, and he continues to punch her, telling her he's fucking hating her and he's fucking gonna kill her. He's got his boot stuck in the bed frame. Johnny beat me up really good this time. Can you help? And he says, I was filming something, I stopped, I got the first New York back to LA. I see her on the James Corden show. I can see the swelling because I know her well. I can see the swelling for Christmas. He was gonna bring his 2 kids. He'd invited Amber's parents, who loved Johnny, and unfortunately her father used to drink and do drugs with Johnny a lot. And he was also going to take Rocky, her friend who lived next door, in a penthouse at night. Johnny says, I have a business meeting at 7 p.m. I'll be there after that. What kind of business meeting do you need to have at 7 p.m. when your wife turns 30? But that's Johnny, right? And he can't say that it was an important financial one because he'd fight. So he shows up late, drunk, drugs, doesn't come back for a month. Now, this is an important, he has major problems. You'll hear about Boo and Pistol. And somehow Amber was doing this so he would get back there and find it, even though he had no intention of coming back, and even though he wasn't at the birthday party and wasn't even in town. So Amber gets Io on the phone. Io's in New York. And she says, this is what Johnny says. Can you please just calm him down? Tell him this isn't true. Tell him we don't have a conspiracy here. You'll hear from Io. He'll say, Amber's fecal food. He started hitting Amber. He grabbed the cell phone from her, wound it up and bashed it into her face. And you will see the pictures. You will see the bruise there. And you'll see. And then he calls 911. And it's not clear, whether Amber said call 911 or he said call 911. But he calls 911. But he's in New York. And he's genuinely concerned for her safety. So he calls 911 there, and he calls a friend in LA and says, please call 911 and just tell what happens next. Johnny goes around and he trashes the apartment before he leaves. He loves to do that. You're going to hear about his penchant for that. Does it a lot. And you'll see a picture of him in the elevator. That happened. I don't want his kids to know about this. I don't want the public to know. I can't have that happen. So when the police show